Mr. Alan Onyema, the chairman, the founder of Airpeace, is now with us to talk about the confusion, the uncertainty in the aviation sector in Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Onyema.
Thank you very much.
Very quickly, so much confusion. The airline operators, you are a leading member of that particular group, AON, and also the workers' union in the various unions in the aviation sector. All of you are protesting. You are saying that by tomorrow, the aviation sector in Nigeria will be shut down. Now, how deep is the problem, and what really is the problem? Because what we hear as ordinary travelers is that the cost of aviation fuel is now 80%, 95% of revenue, and that is unsustainable. You are one of the major players who signed that statement saying, from tomorrow, no airline will fly in Nigeria.
Okay. I've not really seized of the facts of the aviation union's strike. I think they're giving a warning strike starting from tomorrow.
Yes, for 2 days.
Yes. By the time we took our own decision on Friday, we were not availed with that information that the aviation unions will be going on strike. And those aviation unions belong to the government agencies. So they were, I think, asking for pay rise or something like that. We didn't know about that before we took our own decision. The truth is that the airline operators of Nigeria are now on strike. We're not going on strike. Strike is different from what we are doing. We are saying, sometime in January, we were buying fuel for 200 naira to a liter. And even then, the cost of operation was about 40% in Nigeria. By March, it went up to 300. From 300 to 440. So you have over 100% increase between January and March. Remember, that was the time when we looked at our unit costs. We said, this is not sustainable. So some airlines went to 50,000 as the minimum fare. Some went beyond 50,000, maybe 55,000. Some went down to, rose up to 45 from what it used to be as the minimum fare. And there was uproar that airlines ganged up. No. As an operator, you only look at the unit cost per seat and decide which of your inventories to implement. That was when fuel was 440 naira to a liter. Now, it rose within weeks to 500, 550, then 600. We were at the National Assembly. We met with the National Assembly. We met with NNPC. We met with the Nigerian midstream, downstream regulatory authority. We met with all these people. Promises were made. They told us going forward it had to be 500. 500 was even too much. But the 500 never came. We are still buying 580, 500, 550. At a time, it hit 600. Now, within just about a week ago, 700. We are on a march towards hitting 1,000 if nothing is done. Now, what do we do? The economics of the game is no longer there. The airlines, the unit cost per seat of an aircraft now is about 120,000 naira. The option open to these airlines will be to put the burden on the flying public. And for us to do that, the least seat will be costing about 150,000. How many people will be able to afford this astronomical rise? It wasn't even gradual. It was astronomical and immediate. How many people will be able to absorb this in the system? How about the inflationary trends? It will spiral out of control. But when people start flying at 150 as base fare, they're going to apply it to other commodities. There will be inflation. AON, those who are supporting this suspension of flights, are the most patriotic Nigerians you can think of. Because we are fighting for the government of the day, we are fighting for the people of Nigeria. Because we know that this is very, very artificial. Because as at the time that we are getting this fuel at 335, they were giving it to us for 500, 550. And that was why we cried to Mr. President. You see, it pains me at times when people maybe come to the station. I saw one man who claimed to be the owner of all the aircraft in Nigeria, or the president of aircraft association, aircraft owners, and what do you call it? Pilot Association of Nigeria. I don't even know the body. To start with, I don't even know the body. And I own the largest fleet of aircraft in this country and in the whole of West Africa. Yet I don't know. And he came here to lampoon the airlines in the morning. So,
on this station?
Yes, on this station. I was praising Ibom Air. Ibom Air understands their own business model. What business model is any airline operating that is different from the others? The truth is that the decision taken on Friday was a collective effort. It was a collective decision. If anybody pulled out, fine. I don't have to question that. I respect, and we respect, people's choices. However, there are limits to what you say in making your choices. You don't need to lampoon others. We are patriotic in the sense that we, the airlines of Nigeria, who do not want to put this burden on the Nigerian flying public in order to help the government of the day curb inflation, because this government under President Muhammadu Buhari has worked for aviation more than any other government I know from what they have achieved, and I can list them out for aviation. Hadis Sirika, we even turned him to a driver at times, driving us from one place, driving members of the ON, going from one agency of government to the other. The man is tired. So, tired of all this. He has helped us. So, we decided to be flying all this while in order to help the government of Muhammadu Buhari. This is an election year. We didn't want to be seen as working against the government. That is why we started.
Ibome, they are saying they were not part of the meeting where a decision was taken to stop operations tomorrow, and that their name was just added because they are members of the AON.
You see?
And that they have a different business model that they think that they can sustain. That's one question. The second question is that aviation fuel is deregulated. So why is it that, airline operators don't have alternatives? Why don't you guys import your own aviation fuel instead of depending on NMPC? Because you can import your own fuel and not depend on market forces.
Well, we made that application on the floor of the National Assembly with Engineer Kyari, present, and in principle he granted the request that we import our own fuel. But that's a long-term goal. It's not something in the immediate. You have to think of the tank farm. You have to think of so many things. The logistics are there. We are going to apply. Some of us, not necessarily AON as a body. It could be some airlines getting together. It could be individual airlines trying to do that. But that is a long-term goal. But for the immediate, remember, NNPC has Duke Oil. Duke Oil imports for the government. Let me tell you something President Buhari did. The same Nigerian midstream and downstream regulatory body one morning called us, invited us to a meeting where they announced to us that Mr. President had approved, as at that time, 25,000 metric tons of fuel to be given directly to the airlines. Now, they held a meeting with us, asking the airlines to nominate the marketers that will, lift this product for us. The product was to come in 4 days from that meeting. When the time came, we didn't see anything again. It had been given to the marketers. And we called the authorities that be, and they said, well, they could not give us because of so many sundry reasons. And the price thing continued. We wrote to Mr. President, and we were given audience because Mr. President was bothered about the trend of things. We were given audience at the villa. We reeled out some of these frustrations we are going through. You see, every airline in this country is now heavily indebted because of fuel. No longer 40%, universally, the cost of operation is 40% going to fuel, aviation fuel. In Nigeria, it's about 95% now. No airline will survive the next 3 weeks if we continue this way. We've been subsidizing for the Nigerian flying public for the last 3 months. I'm telling you the truth. Now, at 700 naira to a liter, let's take, for instance, the Boeing 737, which is the most popular aircraft the Nigerian airlines use. That is it burns about 4,365 liters of fuel on a 1 hour, 15 minutes flight to Abuja. Multiply that by 700, you're almost getting 50,000 alone on fuel. How about insurance? How about C-check? How about HCMI? How about, then of course you're paying taxes. If you fly to airports like Asaba and Bakotun, you're paying about 5,000 naira as passenger service charge. They're all built into this ticket of 50,000 naira. You remove 5,000 already for passenger service charge that you pay the airports. And then NCAA will take their 5% of your ticket fare. Inside there you pay NIMET. Inside there you pay NAMA. And NAMA is about $1.11. That's the navigational charges. So when you look at it, the cost at the end of, you're not talking about salaries. You're not talking about spare parts. You're not talking about the best strikes. You're not talking about the cost. The unit cost for that aircraft to take off and land in 1 hour is about 120,000 naira. Do we pass this to the flying public and cause inflation in the country? Okay. So the airlines decided that we don't have money. That's why I say it's not a strike. We are saying that we don't have the money to pay to get the fuel to be able to fly. Even today, they've started punishing us. Most of the flights have been delayed. People say we are going to strike. A lot is happening. This is not the way to run. Okay. It's not the fault of the government.
Okay, Chairman Epis, I'm going to ask you what are your specific demands. But before I do so, I want to go back to Ibome. Ibome, they've extricated themselves. They say they are not part of the strike. They can carry on. Now, I just got a message now from someone listening to this, watching this program, who says, Dana Air have also withdrawn. They also say they are not part of it. So it looks like there's disunity among members of airline operators. Or do you think this is divide and rule?
We don't, I don't know what to call it, but we don't have this unity. And let me tell you something. On Friday, all the airlines participated except Green Africa. The other scheduled operators participated. Even some called in on the phone when they couldn't make it to the place. So, Dana, we issued another release early this morning or yesterday saying that we stand by that. Dana signed that. Dana was present in the meeting and helped in reaching this decision. But what Dana is doing is a protest. I don't want to blame Dana. What Dana is doing is a protest.
Which is?
Against what Ibom Air is doing. Dana Air drew our attention this afternoon that Ibom Air, in their words, has started charging passengers 95,000 naira for economy. So some people are making use of this situation created already. Who are now the patriots? So Dana said, okay, if they are charging 95, all their flights are now full, they are taking 95,000, everything has been raised. This is what the other patriots want to avoid. We don't want Nigerians to be taken for granted. We don't want Nigerians to be manipulated. That's what we are saying. We've been against even shutting down. Even at the presidency, we told them, we are going to support you. I sympathize with the government of the day, because sometimes you might blame government for everything, but there are other intricate forces that you need to help government to work out. We are doing this to help the government and the people of Nigeria. Anybody who says, I'm after revenue at this point in time, We are saying we are ready to sacrifice our revenue. We are going to lose hundreds of millions tomorrow. We are ready to sacrifice this for the greater good of this country, for the greater good of the economy. That's what we are saying. If you allow us to now start going with this 700 and we start charging 150, 140 and all that, it's going to spiral all over the place in the economy. And people will be shouting, oh, government this. We are fighting for the government. We are fighting for the people of this nation. Now, an airline is already taking advantage of the situation and charging 95. If you're patriotic, remain on the 50,000. If you're patriotic, remain on the 50,000. Now, Dana has joined because they're protesting that one airline is making money out of this situation. They've joined. But it doesn't matter. Those who really want to fight for this country will remain steadfast. And if government calls us, we answer government. We are not doing this or saying that we are not amenable. No, we are amenable. We want to see the end of this fuel racket. That's what we are saying. We want to see the end of it to help the people of this country.
Which takes me to the next point. The Federal Consumer Protection, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the FCCPC, says that, look, every airline is guilty, and this is their point. Their point is that all the airlines, including all the 11 airlines that signed the protest letter, that all of you are selling tickets, and that this is illegal, it's a violation of Section 123 of the SCCPA. Is Airpeace also selling tickets?
We're not selling tickets. Go and look. We suspended our operations. Eric wrote the same thing. We wrote the same thing. We are suspended. See, in what we are doing, there's no way the airlines will stop flying for the next 20 days. We know government will step in and sort this thing out. So if airlines are selling for future dates, you can't use that to start quoting laws. See, the airlines are being demonized unnecessarily by quarters that shouldn't demonize airlines. We are more patriotic than certain people who are trying to demonize us. We've been paying for this country. We've been flying this country at subsidized rate when we don't operate with public funds. Maybe an airline operating with public funds can pull out. We are not a federal government airline, neither are we state airline, but we are ready to make these sacrifices. Every airline may get over 100, 200, 300, 500 million in a day. We are sacrificing this for the greater good of the country. That's what we are saying. Now, some people are taking advantage of the situation and charging the same passengers. If you want to protect these passengers, oh, you pity them, we don't want to withdraw, then charge them 40,000 and 50,000. Why are we charging things we couldn't have done before if every other person was flying? Why are you doing that now? We are the ones losing, but we are ready to lose to help this government, help the country. Like I said, Mr. President and the Minister of Aviation, they've helped aviation, the growth of aviation in this country so much more than any other government I can think of. When it comes to aviation, this government gave us waiver, signed it into law. We don't pay custom duties. We don't pay VAT on ticket fares. We don't pay VAT on imported aircraft. We don't pay VAT on spares. And so many other things they've done for us. The government has tried. And we told them, even at the presidency, we are ready to support. That is why we've been paying. We didn't want to shut down so that people do not make political capital out of it. But now we've gotten to a situation where the banks are looking. The banks will take a hit if this thing continues. I'm telling you, Airpeace, for instance, we spend over $1 billion weekly on fuel since this hike started. We spend about 6-point-something billion every month on fuel alone. On fuel alone, that's what we are saying. The airlines are awaiting extinction if this trend is not halted. If the airlines go under, the banks will be severely hit. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs will be lost. That is what we are saying. We are not after profit. The guy who claimed to be president of airline owners, aircraft owners, and Pilots Association, who came here, aircraft owners, and I don't know you. I have the largest fleet in Nigeria, and I don't know you. So he came here to rubbish airlines, the airline. But listen to Chris Aligbe, who happens to be, an aviation guru himself. Listen to what he said. Not people who want to grandstand and pander to certain sentiments and came here and said another airline that withdrew was the right airline, they did this and that. Well, we don't use public funds. If that airline has access to public funds, well, good. But you must operate profitably. You must operate like a business because it's going to hurt the same public funds you are using now to do something. But my angst is that no airline should take advantage of the moment to charge passengers unnecessarily. No airline should do that. If any airline believes that it's patriotic, that 700 naira to a liter of fuel, which Ibom Air themselves admitted that is a threat to the existence of airlines. So I wonder where the money is now coming, and they say their own model of operation. And at the same time, they talked about the state. They were the only ones servicing Akwa Ibom. For goodness sake, if all the airlines shut down, nobody is going to Owerri. Nobody is going to Enugu. Nobody is going to wherever. So it's not about Ibom. I don't want to dwell on Ibom because they are our members, but some clarification needed to be said here because of the question you asked.
Mr. Onyema, the Minister of Aviation has issued a statement, and they have said categorically in that statement that they are not the ones responsible for high cost of aviation fuel. They've summoned a meeting tomorrow. Will your members in the AON, Airline Operators of Nigeria, attend that meeting? And what will be the items in your shopping bag? What are your specific demands? What do you want government to do?
Like I said earlier, the Minister of Aviation, the minister has tried his best. The minister had even waded in the past on this issue. We had a meeting with him. He went everywhere. He talked to that's why they said it is not their call this time. It has to be call of maybe Minister of Petroleum or NNPC, for instance, has to be invited. Then maybe National Assembly will get into the fray too. The National Assembly has invited us to Abuja tomorrow. And the Ministry of Aviation also is calling for that. We are not against suspension of our decision. We are not against it. But what we are saying is that we don't even have the money to go and buy the fuel. Now, what the marketers are doing is cash and carry. Where is that done the whole worldwide? Anywhere in the world, airlines owe. Airlines lift fuel and pay later. Airlines even procure parts abroad. They procure parts and pay later. That's how aviation is run. Now you're being treated, I don't know whether you have to be carrying bags of naira in your cargo hold to be paid. Where is that done? Yes. If the aviation market has come here and said airlines are owing them money, it is true they're owing them. But how did we get to this? How do we travel this road? How did we get here? That is the issue. So what we are saying, when we get there, what we'll be asking for is, let us even know the landing costs of this product. Bring it down so that fares will be, affordable.
Okay, so
and the way it is, expect increase. Okay. Because nobody can survive under the regime of fares we have now.
Okay, so in specific terms, the Nigerian government talks about market forces. Because I said earlier on that aviation fuel is deregulated. So that's within the province of market forces. Globally, aviation fuel is expensive. So what is the body, Airline Operators of Nigeria, asking for? Are you guys asking for subsidy? Government is already subsidizing fuel, petrol. Are you asking that government should also subsidize aviation fuel? You have to be specific.
You see, aviation is not elitist. A lot of people think aviation is elitist. No, it's no longer elitist. Everybody should have access to aviation, travel by air. It's no longer elitist. It's a catalyst for economic development of any nation now. And that is how it is viewed worldwide. It's no longer like before, being looked as an elitist. So whatever government has to do, government will do. However, AON is not really asking for subsidy. But what we are asking for is for government to look in seriously into the cost of acquisition of these products. I'll tell you something. When the crude oil rose to 120 to a barrel in the international market, that was when they used that to increase to 440. And we protested. Now, the crude oil has come down to 90 and still coming down, and we are now rising to 700. So, when they were getting it from Duke Oil, which belongs to the government, at 335, why were they selling it to us at 550 and 560, 570, and 600? What we are saying is simple. Please, and remember, for the avoidance of doubt, the aviation fuel marketers, they're in for business. We support their business. We are not against them being profitable. But what we are saying, for goodness sake, whatever we do, let's take the nation into consideration. Let's take the economy into consideration. Let's put these gains in such a way that it will be affordable for the masses. What we are doing is fighting for the Nigerian flying public and for the government. Because if things spiral out of hands, people will shout, government is this, government is that, not knowing that government is even frustrated, trying to unravel what actually is causing this. Let everyone, let the airlines, let the airlines be patriotic, let the fuel marketers be patriotic. Let those officials in NNPC be also truthful, honest and patriotic too. Let all of us be patriotic in our dealings with our fellow citizens. That's what we are asking for.
Okay, with all these problems, the Nigerian government, at the height of COVID-19, intervened in the aviation sector. They provided some support. Okay, does it mean that all of that did not work? Was it a failure of policy, or that the airline operators didn't take advantage of the support offered by the Nigerian government?
It depends on the kind of support. Remember, the COVID regime devastated airlines all over the world. Airlines took a very serious hit worldwide. In fact, when some Nigerians, some armchair critics, sit down in their rooms and start, talking from both sides of the mouth, I laugh. Many airlines folded up within 2 weeks. Some airlines didn't last. Big airlines folded up within 2 weeks because of the impact of COVID-19. No Nigerian airline has gone under because of that. Now, government provided support, but the support they provided was not commensurate to the impact we suffered. And we are not even blaming government for that. We cannot sit down in Nigeria and comparing Nigeria with America. Maybe America released some $52 billion to their airlines and all that. Some airlines got 28. When you look at it, the airlines, what about their fleets too? So the Nigerian system, the Nigerian environment is different. Our government does not have the kind of economic capacity that America has. So we cannot go and start blaming government for not giving us so much money. What we were giving was $4 billion. That $4 billion we shared among ourselves. You and I know that it was not enough, and we are very thankful to government for even doing something. That was what the government could afford. I'm sure if they could afford more, they could have given us. So we didn't take it against government for giving us that. But what we are asking is that Forex acquisition, government should also look into Forex and see if the central bank could be helped to have a window that will make it certain at all times for us to be able to be accessing dollars. But the central government in itself also has tried, because they have to service other sectors in the economy. They always encourage us to go by the way of LC, so that they will be allocating dollars, gradually to us. I did that, and it worked for me. The only thing is that as at the time is coming, the foreign vendor is disturbing you, because these things are supposed to be timely.
Mr. Onyema, okay, what to say now? You are saying, I'm trying to summarize, that market forces cannot work for airline operators of Nigeria, and that government should do something about market forces. These free-range market forces, and then provide support.
No, I'm not saying market forces cannot work. We agree that market forces can work, but there are times, that there are certain things that are outrageous. And when they become outrageous, government has to step in. Yes, it's deregulated. It's deregulated. What if the airlines come out tomorrow and agree within themselves to start selling tickets 250,000? People will say, oh, it's deregulated. That's what. No, we are hurting the economy if we do that. What we are saying is deregulated, but there's deregulation and there's deregulation. Government should look into why it is product, which then the government also procure. The government procures it through Duke Oil to give allocation to the marketers. They were giving 5,000 metric tons to some of them. So how did it rise? If as at that time we are told it was 335, how did it get to them selling it to us for 580? That's what we are saying.
Okay, Chairman Airpace, final question. What's the worst case scenario, nightmare, that we should expect tomorrow? The workers with NCTA, NAMA, NCAA, NUATE, ANAP, all these unions within the aviation sector, they are going on strike. The airline operators are also saying, we're shutting down. What's the nightmare like? All of us will be stranded. Nobody will be able to go anywhere. There will be chaos.
You see, even if the airlines now want to fly, you can see the other end. We need them. NIMET will tell you about the weather before you take off. NCA must be there. Most of these, maybe the airport fan also may have joined them. And NAMA is the navigational whatever. So even if the airlines call it off, those ones, if they carry on with their threat of strike, they will it will be nightmarish somehow. It will be nightmarish. However, the Airline, as I said, is open to discussions. Because we love this country, in Airline you find the most patriotic Nigerians. We are not doing this for pecuniary reasons. Aviation is somehow addictive. After all, I've done so many sorties for this country free of charge. Besides South Africa, I went to India and brought Nigerians during COVID. They couldn't pay their reason. I went there. I deployed my jets. They went there and brought Nigerians. There were some that paid us. The ones that couldn't pay, over 100 and something of them, I brought them to their country free of charge. When Malaysia was boiling, they went to whether Malaysia or Indonesia, destroying our embassies because they couldn't come back during the COVID. I deployed my 777, went to Malaysia, went to Indonesia, went to Thailand to bring Nigerians. A lot of them didn't pay. I brought them back. I brought them back from China too. So it's not about money. When we are doing this, we look at it because somebody said this morning, the man that came here said the airlines want to make money. It's not about money. It's not about money. If anybody that comes here, they tell you that the aviation, sector operation is very, very lucrative. It is not, but it's addictive. Once you go into it, your other businesses might begin to collapse one after the other because everything you have, you push it in. You push it into aviation. One bed strike. I had Airpeace alone had 14 bed strikes last year. 14. And when it happens, it spirals into delays and all. And people will be, oh, this airline is wasting time. But is Airpeace in charge of chasing the birds? They should remember that these birds caused an airline to fall into the Hudson River, to crash into the Hudson River in America. But thanks to God, nothing like that ever happened. But one airline had 14 bird strikes. That is over $60 million of engines gone in less than 8 months. So it's not a lucrative business. Our 777 Stone entered or something to change that engine. One engine cost $10.2 million. That's over $7 billion. So how much have you been carrying all this while for you to do that? So it's not a lucrative business, but it takes your addiction. It takes your addiction. So we are very patriotic. The airlines are not saying, oh, we must go on strike, we must do this, we must do that. However, what we are saying is that we don't have the money to continue to pay the marketers and reckoning debts. Day in, day out, we are reckoning debts because of the astronomical rise. of fuel.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chairman Airpeace, Barrister Alan Onyema, for joining us on This Day Live, the Sunday talk show. Tomorrow morning, Nigerians will be watching. They will want to see what the effect will be of the proposed suspension of services by the airline operators of Nigeria and the various unions in the aviation sector, whether with the rail lines not safe, with the roads not safe, with air travel now threatened, whether we would be able to enjoy our freedom of movement that is constitutionally guaranteed in the Nigerian Constitution. Thank you very much for joining us.